If you remember from yesterday, I received that Sony Betacam SX with SP or analog playback capability from a viewer over in the UK, and initial inspection shows that it loads a tape. It doesn't eat a tape. It's going into a real shutdown mode. So today we're going to look at this machine and see if I can get it to play tapes, and hopefully we'll get lucky. So we looked at the initial inspection on the DNW A30P Betacam SP Betacam SX playback machine. As I noted yesterday, there was a card missing, but I don't think this one ever had a card in this slot. That might have been for recording or something for the machines that were recording capable, because I don't see any plugs down on the board, on the base main board, so there never was anything plugged in. This is probably a common chassis, the same with the missing card over here. This is a common chassis that was used on both record machines and playback only machines. This machine being a playback only machine, they've omitted those cards, so I'm not too worried about parts missing. Let's power it up again. Look at how much power this thing draws when it starts up. It's on my isolation transformer, right? And it's already set for NTSC. Interesting, I got a multi-system monitor on it over here, and it showed NTSC when I powered it up. I'll show you. Turn it on. NTSC. I'm going to throw a Betacam SP tape into it, just for shits and giggles, as they say, and see if I get a picture momentarily before it shuts down with the error, and we'll see what error pops up on the screen here now that I've got my on-screen display. Despite this saying DigiBeta, it's actually recorded in SP. I kind of made it an SP tape. Yeah, it's shorter, right? The digital recorded at a slower speed. This was for a DigiBeta. The tapes, the SX tapes for my other camera. My other camera, like my SX camera, can use SP tapes, and it can use SX tapes. And it wouldn't accept this one. It would just kick it out until I put that on there. Then it accepts it. And I recorded an SP recording on here. Other differences are, these ones had a slot. So a real DigiBeta camera, you had to put one of these in, because the tape's loaded in this way. Or I guess it was that way. But they had a slot on them. Anyway, let's load this up, because I know it's not eating. I know that this tape is I have a green screen. So we know something's wrong with this thing. It's not shutting down. It's not going into that tape error now. Well, that's interesting. The tape is moving, as you can see, but I got no picture. So obviously this thing's sustained some damage when it was shipped. But if I go to search, next I'll try a tape recorded in SX format on that SX Betacam that I have. I know it's not playing the analog tape. I don't think it's going to play this either, but we'll see if it identifies it. It's an SX tape. So it's in play. As you can see, the tape is spinning. I have readout, so it's reading the time code, but that's a linear time code on here. It's reading that. I'm not getting any audio. So you can see if there's anything on any of the channels here. I don't see any audio anywhere. The display is showing. I'll show you the display. So the tape transport's working. I've got no picture, as you can see. This is attempting to play a PAL SX tape that I know there's a recording on, because it plays fine on the camera that made the recording, and there's nothing here. Rewind the tape back. And now the fun starts. Oh, what do we got on the screen now? Some square blocks. Look at this. It's like this is a lot of vibration on here. I have square blocks on the picture. I'm not getting a picture. I had a bunch of square blocks on the screen. As you can see. Go back and put the analog tape back in. Now it slows the drum down because it's an analog tape. The drum doesn't run as fast. That's why I was making all that racket. But I don't think the top of the head drum here should be vibrating like it was. It still is. I can feel it. It's just not as bad as it was on the other tape. Something's probably twisted or bent in the drum, because this thing here seems to be wobbling. I'm going to pull the cassette loader out, the elevator as they call it. Just unplug it. It should just lift straight up. So we can take a look at the mechanism under here. What I did find was that this was sticking a little bit, and that might have been why it wasn't. It was, I mean, this was just kind of stuck. I noticed before I put the tape in, because when I tried it yesterday, of course, it just stopped right away. It didn't play more than a few seconds, even though the tape reel was rotating. I have done nothing else to the machine. I should lubricate the rails on this, just so that the larger tapes won't stick. These get gummed up. If I can get this thing playing back, then I'll look into throwing some lubricant onto these tape hubs. I just hope there's nothing damaged on the head itself. Head drums on these look quite unique. How many heads are on this thing? There's a ton of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks to be 6 heads on here. Probably 2 analog heads for SP, and then just 2 heads for digital, I would think. Is that what it says here? Does it tell me what they do? It looks like they're labeled on top here. The analog machines record separate chroma and luminance tracks, so there'll be 2 heads side by side, which there are. And it says playback. That's be a chroma head. Playback. Playback. Yeah, there's tons of heads on this thing. Can we count them all? I think I counted. What did I see here? Oh man, there's heads. This thing's got so many heads on it. Unbelievable. There's even more than I could spot initially. So yeah. So let's count them all. Okay. If we can get a close up, show you how many heads this thing's got on it. It's got tons. Okay. There's one there. We'll start here. I'll put a mark so we know where we're starting. we're starting right there. Okay, there's two heads here. And then we move over, there's a third head, a fourth head, a fifth head, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then we're back to these two. Right? Hence the reason why, in addition to the rotary transformer, they've got the slip rings on top here to make contact. And this thing is appearing to wobble. When the drum is spinning, this thing is wobbling something bad. I don't know whether it's bent, but you can actually see it looks like the shaft is bent. If you look at that, see? It's wobbling away. That is not good. I don't know what other surprises I'm going to find when I pull the bottom off it, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull off the bottom and inspect the circuit board, the main motherboard, and see if there's anything broken on there. I'm pretty sure this machine at this point, just from this initial kind of check over, well, it's got something major. It's got no video out on playback. It's just got the on-screen display that works. So let's pull the bottom and take a look at the main board that all these cards plug into, and also see if I can figure out why the front panel won't open, because it's obviously bent. Somewhere it's bent here. On the bottom here, there's a couple big boards. I don't see any breaks. Of course, there's plastic covers on here, so I can't really see everything on here. I don't know if these covers come off. They might clip off. I can't see the whole board, but I don't see any breaks like around the edges here. Maybe I'll try resetting, and I was able to open this up. It was just jammed to the base. So this swings open to get to the air filter, and for the controls that are on here, that's accessible now. So I got that part to swing out. I'll probably pull all the cards out one at a time and just look to see if there's any damage on the cards. Maybe something's not seated right. But I don't see any breaks on this board here that are obvious. I mean, there could be hairline fractures on it anywhere. Going to remove the straps that hold the cards in place. And we'll just pull each card and kind of give it a once over on what I'm going to expect to find. Start out with this card. It's got our friends on it. So it might even be a failure of the board. I don't know what condition it is. I don't know whether it ever played a tape recently. It was given to me in a non-functional state. So there could be more wrong with it than just damage from shipping. I'm just giving it a once over to see if I can see anything that is physically smashed. I didn't see anything on the bottom that looked to be too far out of place. But then, again, I'm not an expert on these machines. In fact, this is the only one I've ever seen. So hopefully I will be able to get this thing to work. I'm going to put some effort into it for sure. I don't even know where to begin, though. Which, even as far as testing these boards go, you need the card extenders, which fit in there, and then the cards sit into them. And I don't have any card extenders, so I can't really do any troubleshooting on the board other than reseating it in case something wasn't seated properly. Maybe remove some of this white glue that becomes conductive, although it doesn't look like it hasn't turned brown. It's usually when it's bad is when this stuff starts to turn brown and it gets conductive. time-based corrector board. These two have to come out together as they've got a strap connecting them. A lot of chips on these boards, that's for sure. This is obviously a preamp board of some type. Oh, look at all the dirt on this board. Dirt can't do it any good, right? Looks like the air filters haven't been changed in this thing in an awful long time. I dropped the elevator assembly back in. I don't expect that there's been any change in the way that this thing behaves. No, there isn't. It's still got just a green screen. I got lights lighting up on these cards, so they're getting power. But why we're not getting a picture? Clogged head, maybe? Doubt it. I don't see any audio either. Like there should be audio, linear audio at least. I don't see anything showing up on the audio monitors. I got a servo light that's blinking on the front here, so the servo's not locking up fully. That's all I get. If I turn on the character display, it's not able to sync up. Drum's got 5,535 hours on it. Total operating time 25,544. Air filter has never been changed, it looks like. Hence all the dirt in it. I'll put that SX tape back in. It's not like it's even detected that it's a digital tape. Oh! Well, we got... Well, I played something. Those are the color bars off the tape. Well, isn't that interesting? At least I know it's getting some signal, and I can play with the chroma phase with the controls and the black level. I'll put it back to preset. Video level. So those are, that part's working. I'm just not getting anything off the tape. But I did get color bars there for a minute. Interesting. I don't think that thing's supposed to be making that kind of racket. I wonder what's under this cover. Should just be slip rings, but the amount of noise they're making just doesn't sound right. Have the slip ring slip to the wrong ring? Did an impact knock it out of kilter? Let's see if this comes off. And that does come off. Looks like there's only 3 rings on here. Even though this ribbon has got many more contacts, there's actually only 3. No, I guess there's 3 on each side. Yeah, there's 3. I don't know if putting a little bit of cleaner on them will help or not. I can certainly dab them with a little bit of deox. I don't really know how many of those heads are actually in use on this machine either. Some of them may not be used for anything. Obviously this stack it's got more contacts on it than are being used on this machine. I'm assuming that if it was a recorder, they'd probably have the contacts for the flying erase heads as well fed through there. Just not detecting it's an SX tape again, because this should be spinning a lot faster than it is. As soon as I went into jog mode, it sped up the drum. Because the drum runs much faster. A little quieter now than it was before, that's for sure. Still no picture, just kind of half-assed color bars. I forget how many minutes of color bars. I may have recorded bars on this tape for a few minutes before I actually took it out and did some recordings. There should be some camera stuff on here. There it is. It's trying. It's trying to read the tape. As you can see, it's trying. So at least it's somewhat working a bit. Try running a cleaning tape through it. These being metal tapes, they don't tend to clear off that easy. I'm wondering if this chassis has been bent and it's causing an alignment problem, and that the tape isn't being read correctly. I mean, we're obviously getting some data because it's filling up the memory, and we're getting some still images. So it's definitely got a problem reading from the tape. It's more than likely it's because look at how this is wobbling, right? This chassis is twisted. And very likely what's happened is the alignment, the head drum's been shifted or something, and it's just not tracking correctly. The fact that this thing feels like it's got a bit of a wobble to it too. I mean, anything could have been bent in here. I mean, this thing got beat up. But if it was working and it was just the tape spool problem, which is now working because it's playing, the tape is spinning away. This is going to be supplying power. There's a preamp on here. On the video head itself has a preamp on it for playback. And that's what this is for. This is supply power. The reason it's got multiple conductors on it is if this was an editing machine, the flying erase heads would be also, I'm sure, passed through this. The signals themselves should go down through the rotary transformer. This is supplying power. So if the power is lost, there'll be no signal coming from the heads because the preamp is out, and you would not get any image at all. That's why when I unplug this, the picture goes away, because there's no RF. I'm just curious as to where the RF test points are on this thing. As I say, I've never worked on one, so kind of trying to figure out where things are, where you test them. These might be RF test points. We'll hook up a scope and just see what I see. Do I see anything that resembles what I think video should look like from one of these machines, which is similar to what I would think RF would look like from any VCR. Well, I see what resembles RF. Why there's a big gap in there, I don't know, but I see what does resemble to be RF coming off this preamp board. try the SP tape. There's definitely a gap. I mean, obviously that's RF, for sure. There's a gap here. If I pause it, go one frame at a time. Forward, reverse, forward, reverse. Back to play. The servo's not locking up for starters. I can see that, and the servo light's flashing. So there's a servo problem. Could be capacitors. Could be those surface mounted caps on one of these boards that's full of them. That could certainly be problematic. I'm not seeing anything, just a green screen. Trying to play the analog tape. But that's video. I got video on one of the boards. When I play back an SX tape, that's what I'm seeing on that test point that was giving me video from the analog tape, although I do have a picture, an image on the screen here, just a frozen image with a bunch of blocks on it. So I don't know what any of these are supposed to actually look like. I don't have a manual for it, so I'm just kind of trying to see what waveforms we're seeing. Like if we look down here, the tape is making full contact with the drum. It looks like it anyway. Yeah, I don't see anything out of position. Oops, I tripped that. What did I cause? I caused real trouble. I gotta shut it down now to eject the tape. I have a picture. I have a picture. It was set for 525 mode, and this is a 625 tape. The monitor in the background is showing the PAL output on this. This is displaying in PAL. This is a multi-system monitor. I had to kind of figure out the menus as to how to get this thing to switch to 625, because I could see it was in 525, 625 mode, but it was outputting as a 525 signal, and that would explain why there was no picture coming up here, just a frozen picture. It was reading it into the time-based corrector, but nothing was going past there. So, excellent! It will play my PAL tapes. Well, it's a lot better than when I started out. If you can see the grin on my face right now, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm going to throw that other tape back in. I know it's not going to play it. I'm going to throw the analog tape back in and just see what happens now that it's in 625 mode. It shouldn't play this tape. This is a SP tape. So it shouldn't play it, but... And it doesn't. It doesn't play it at all because it's a... It's now in 625 mode. Now if I go back into that setting, see, figure this out here. Menu, and I have to dial this down to, what was it, number 13. 525, 625, select. How the hell did I do this? I did that, and I selected on 625 setting. Okay. $525 now, and if I hit the set button, it'll say turn the power off and then back on. And I'm going to look at that green screen, I'm sure. So it's not playing anything in SP. It's not playing analog, but it does play digital, which is better than kicking the nads, as they say, because the camera that I have, the Betacam that I have, just so happens that it's a PAL Betacam SX, and this machine will play a tape from it in PAL. I'm getting on the front here, I'll show you the controls. I'm trying to play this tape. I'm getting servo. I'm getting the servo light blinking. It's not reading any sound off the tape either, and I know that there is music on the tape. This was the Vancouver Aquarium tape that I dubbed over to SP. So this is a Betacam SP tape that is playing, but well, it's not playing. It's just I'm getting these lights flashing. I'm getting servo. So this is reading the counter from when I put the tape in, and if I switch it here, this is the time code that was recorded on the tape, because there's time code on this tape. The other machine I've got, it's got the time code generator in it. The what is it? UVW 1400, I think it is. It's got a time code generator. So there's time code on here as well. There's no user bit set though, but that's the running time for when I put the tape in, and that's where position we are on the tape, 18 minutes in on the tape for the actual time code. But as you can see, the servo light is blinking like crazy here, and if I go into shuttle mode or anything, or jog, variable speed. You guys couldn't see what I was doing there, but anyway, that's what switches. Variable speed, which is not doing anything, shuttle, or jog. But you can also do the same. You can also do that to switch between jog, which is frame advance when you spin it, or back to shuttle. Well, I got it's a green screen. We're going to switch it back to 625 mode, I guess. Here I'll show you how it's done. So if I go back to the digital tape, it says here it's in 525 mode. That's why it's not playing anything. But if I go into the menu and I select jog and I take this down to where it says what's it here, 525, 625, and I forget how I did this. Hold it. Push set button, and then turn it again, 625 or 525, 625, and then push the set button again, and it says power it off, and then power it back on. Now you'll see the big monitor won't display a picture because it's gone into PAL. Go back to play. And there it is, locked up, and it's playing. So that looks damn good. Of course, they have to watch it on a PAL monitor or run it through a converter or capture it. They can capture it and see how it looks. But this was the tape that I shot on the Betacam, and I gotta admit, it looks damn good. I can shut that display off there. So it's not a total loss. I gotta figure out why the analog is not playing back. I see sound coming up here on 3 of the soundtracks recorded on here. See the background audio, I guess. There's 3 soundtracks that's got sound on it. But yeah, it seems to be working. It tells me it's in Betacam SX mode, lit up on the front here. Go to shuttle. Just looking at the different modes on here. Vertical interval time code it's got on here. Jog, 1 frame at a time. Vary speed, slow-mo, regular speed, and double speed. And shuttle, it's regular speed, double speed, and high speed. And reverse. Okay, now to figure out why it's not playing analog tapes. Looks like it'd be a servo problem for starters, because the servo light doesn't stay locked on it. When I play this tape, the servo lock stays locked. It tells me it's a Betacam SX tape. 32 minutes remaining, it looks like on here. Oh, 41 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. And it's in 625 mode. Caption lock 4F. Channel condition, what's that mean? It's got a square on there. Anyway, that is, that's working. Let's see if I switch between modes here. That one can be reset. And this one reads the time code off the tape when it was recorded, because the camera lays down time code. So what's interesting is, I'm going to turn off that plasma. No point in having that run. Is you get a picture on rewind. Let's see if we get sound. I got the audio plugged in now. I think that was before I ventured out. That was probably still at home when I was testing stuff with the camera. We should have sound on here, and there are 3 soundtracks, so I can actually, yeah, there's 3 soundtracks. I got channel 1 and 2. I can put on them different soundtracks. I think they're all exactly the same because I only had 1 microphone. But there's 3 soundtracks recorded on this thing. Oh, that's the sound of my power supply. The fan in my power supply came on. That's on the tape. That was recorded when I was recording these color bars. I don't know how long I recorded bars for, but I probably recorded them for a few minutes before I actually took it out to the duck pond. There we go. Play.
Try it out and see how it works.
Okay, before I even head down to the park, it's just to shoot down the street. Okay, that's just the normal length of the lens. And there is an extender on here as well. If I do that, now I've got the extender on. Turn the extender off. You see the difference it makes. Extender off, extender on. Okay. My white balance is done. Let's go and do some shooting with this pig. Okay, I'm out here at the park with the Betacam. We'll just zoom in and focus. It's always a nice thing about these manual lenses is that you can zoom in. Oh, look, there's a bee. Let's get a real good close-up of him. Where'd he go? There he is, and he flew away. That's with the extender on. You can see the shallow depth of field. Another bee. Now I don't have a tripod because I don't have an adapter. Oh, there's all kinds of them on here. I don't have the tripod adapter to put my channel 3 my sticks on this one. So you can see when you're using an extender, you have a very shallow depth of field. Turn the extender back off. Playing around with the audio, there's 3 channels, they all have the same thing on it. Again, there's only 1 microphone on the camera, so it's mono, but it's recording on 3 channels. I think the camera mic always records on channel 3, and 1 and 2 you can plug external things in. I don't know how long this battery is going to run because it's not a new battery, it's a very old battery that I'm using. Now, one thing I did notice is that my newer televisions actually support panel. Oh, this is cool. I can see my audio meter is showing up in the viewfinder. Now I can change.
My newer
If I
television
go into the
does
settings,
support panel, so I was able to see the picture
I
in
can
color.
adjust the color level, or that's the video
My
level.
older plasma sets don't.
Back to preset. This is chroma level.
So that's a house
That's chroma level.
at the opposite end of the park, across the street from the park. It's a long ways away. Get the extender on, obviously. Turn the extender off. Zoom back. You can see how
Color
far the
level
house is
control.
away.
I can adjust the
It's a
color
long ways out.
up or down, and I can control the. I guess this is the black level. I think that's black level.
And using an extender, you pretty
Oh,
much
that's why I
have to
see
use the
delay.
tripod.
Let's leave that one alone.
It's almost
This
impossible.
is the video
to
level, and that
that
one's the
distance.
video level. I'll go back
get
to
some very
default.
dramatic
This one was the black
shallow
level.
depth of field shots with an extender.
Back to default, and this one's the chroma
Lots of kids
phase.
playing around here today in the
And
park.
despite what people think
Away
that
from where everybody is.
PAL doesn't have a phase control,
Taking
well, it
inadvertent
does.
Pictures of
Just the
of
TVs
kids,
didn't
just,
have it.
that doesn't go over very well.
But the
on
playback
YouTube.
equipment did. I can adjust
kind
the
of
chroma phase.
Isolated out here. I'll just take a quick little stroll.
Back to preset.
One thing I noticed about a camera like this is the sheer weight of it. This is not light. Now I've got a battery belt or a battery pack on my other shoulder. This is what I'm using for a battery. Okay, I've just got a gel cell. You know, those little fanny packs, and I just throw it over my shoulder. I use this with my other rig as well, because it lasts a lot longer than using the NiCad packs. It also kind of balances you when you've got a weight on the other shoulder that's almost as heavy as the camera. It tends to level things off a bit. One of the things about having a camera of this size is, well, everybody notices you, that's for sure. So that's the thing when you're dealing with the broadcast cameras, you have to change your filter. Like this one here is like a 4.3K filter. This is an ND filter, ND1. This is just a color filter with no neutral density, and then this is the darker filter, filter 4 as it's called. So we'll try filter 2, or even filter 3, which is just the color correction. The 4. Right, so I got the
So this unit's working. For playing back SX tapes, I guess I can't complain, because I have other Betacam SP machines for playing analog. Now I can play the SX tapes, and I'm sure if it plays the 625 tapes, it will play the 525 tapes just as well. But it's not accepting SP tapes. So I'm going to have to figure that one out as to why it's not working. Could be a problem on one of the servo boards. I don't know what. Again, I don't know anything about these machines. If any of you guys that are watching have any ideas on one of these as to why it might not play back an analog tape and just have a green picture like that. Again, I got good video when I clipped on to, I think it was this test point here. I had video on my scope when I was clipped on there. So I know there's video coming out of it, but whether it's in the time-based corrector or the servo wasn't locking in, for starters. But even when I put it in like freeze frame and stuff, I didn't get a picture. I just got a green screen when trying to play an analog tape. And I don't know, is that board important? Was that something that was emitted on this one because it doesn't play analog? I don't know. It says analog digital on it. It says it's supposed to play it. It seems to play it at the right speed, and the head drum runs at the right speed. That's a lot quieter than it was before too. This used to be vibrating like crazy, but a little bit of deoxide on those contacts has really quietened this thing down. And I got a picture. So I guess I'm going to leave it right now alone at this point, because I've got a functional machine. Now how does this go in? This went in like this. That went in to hold the boards down. I've got a functional machine that plays the Betacam SX tapes. Again, I'll have to try to get this thing to play back the SP tapes. But if any of you guys, I'm going to put this video up now because this part's working, so this will be like part 2. And if I can get any info and figure out why it's not playing, you know what? We're gonna lubricate this before I finish this off. So let me just get the tape out of here. We'll pull the basket. I'll throw some grease where grease needs to go to quieten this thing down, but at least it wasn't a total loss. So that's good. So let's get the tape out, get the elevator out, and we'll lubricate the gears. So I'll power it down. We'll remove the elevator once again. Get that out of the way. This just lifts straight out like that, which is nice. I'm going to lubricate these rails that pop out for the larger tapes. These stick on my other machine. Might even be worth swapping over one of these. I think one of these is damaged on my other machine. Might be worth swapping this over. The other one I'll likely see more larger tapes than this one, but never know. My other machine, when I want to put a large tape in, I got to pull it out and do that, or reach in there and do that, and then it will work. But it gets stuck in the position for the small tapes. And I think maybe there's a gear that's been kind of buggered up from it moving when it was seized up. That happened before I got the machine. Because it certainly moves free now. It does not jam up. But when it gets into the small tape position, it has a tendency to stick. Nothing appears to be gummed up here. Get a little bit of grease down in here to the loading gear, if I can get in here with it. There's a worm gear back there. It's got a cover over it. I can't really get to it easily. I have to pull the loading motor to get to that. I don't know if I want to do that. Gotta love how simple these units are as far as taking them apart. It just lifts out. Of course, the other cover here fits over it and locks it in place. That's what stops it from moving. This cover sits in like that. I think it was that way it goes in. And then the other cover goes over top of the head. This one goes on like this. There we go. There, that's how that goes together. Button that machine up. I'm going to just try something here because there are a bunch of settings that come up on the screen, and I wonder if there's some settings that might have been out of whack on this thing. Well, the internal bar generator works. If I go into I can select 100% bars, 75% bars, reverse color bars, bow tie generator, halts and bar, multi-burst. Okay, neat how these test patterns that this thing will generate. Horizontal sweep, 5-step, ramp generator, shallow ramp, red, 50% flat white, 100% white, black burst, SDI check field, NTC7, NTSC. Got all these test patterns that it can generate when it's in stop mode, when it's not outputting any signal. Okay, I'm curious what happens if I switch just to 625 with this analog tape in here. Menu. Menu. Turn that on, press set, switch it to 625, press set and turn the power off, and then back on. Now I've switched the unit to PAL, which I have to put it into play that PAL tape. See, it says PAL on the screen. I wonder what happens if I try playing this NTSC tape. Well, isn't that okay? So this machine is having problems trying to output an NTSC signal. This is an NTSC tape that's playing on it now, and it's playing it in PAL on a PAL monitor. If I flip on the other TV, you'll see that it will just be a scrambled mess because that plasma only supports NTSC. As you can see. So the machine can convert an NTSC, and I got sound now as well. It's just going slow. It's playing slow. I think, yeah. It's playing slow. That music is slow. Sounds like it. That's playing slow, that music. That's playing slow. I know that song, I know how the speed of it. It's playing back in 25 frames instead of 30. Okay, I was not expected. I wasn't expecting it to play anything when I had it in See, this is a 30 frame tape, but it's only going up to 25 and then going to the next frame. Okay, so that's weird. Something new we've learned. This machine converts an NTSC tape to PAL when playing an analog tape, and puts it a PAL signal running at 25 frames, so it's running slow. So if you're playing a regular tape, it would run slow. It's hard to tell when you're watching fish swim around. But like, as soon as I heard the music, it's like, well, wait a minute, this is going the wrong speed. But interesting. Okay, well, wow, weird. So is it possible that this machine does not output NTSC at all? It only outputs PAL. But no, it does output NTSC because the color bar is outputting NTSC. So what the hell? I don't know what to think now. Any of you guys smarter than me on this machine, maybe you can give me some pointers, because I'm completely lost on this now. It plays an NTSC tape in PAL, plays the PAL tape in PAL. When I switch the output to 525, it outputs an NTSC signal when we're looking at the color bars or the test pattern or the on-screen display, but it does not output any video, just a green screen. That is pretty bizarre. Anyway, I think I've gone about as far on this as I can go. I've got it, it's a playback machine only. I've got it playing both analog tapes and digital tapes, but it's not playing NTSC tape in the correct speed. It's playing it as a PAL signal. Very, very strange. Unless there's something I'm missing. But the settings are all done through here. If I go to menu and I go down to where was it? It was 525, 625 select. I hit jog. I flip that on. I press the set button, and then I hold down the jog button again and switch it to 525 and hit the set button. And now I got to turn the power off and then back on, and that switches modes. It's displaying an NTSC signal. You saw it say NTSC right there. As soon as I try to play the tape, that's all I get. I get no sound, and that's all I get. Weird. Anyway, if any of you the guys that have worked on these machines before know what the answer to that is, I'm all ears, because I haven't got a clue. Is it just the limitation? Is this DNW A30P only capable of outputting PAL? You guys tell me. Anyway, it plays my PAL tapes off my Betacam, and I'm sure it probably will play an NTSC SX tape as well, but I don't have one of those to try, but I bet it will play it. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.